And back to Code 2. Welcome to a 1v1 on Kholodny Ferma Winter. This game is going to be Panzer Grenadier Angreifen, who has gone by many various names. Angreifen is the one he's most well known as, I believe, but in this game he's going to be a base of some kind. In fact, there's actually a chat overlay that you can see over there on the right side, so if I actually type the face into chat, it's like this cute little this cute little face of like, oh. That's the Twitch face version of his name. Versus Alastor. Oberkommando West in the east versus Alastor's US forces in the west. We're going to see a very early aggressive push by the Sturm Pioneers towards the building right here. He makes it to the green cover position, but it looks like this was a mistake. He's going down fast. And he actually, I don't know, that actually went not that badly. He loses 80 manpower in reinforcement, but he also inflicts 70 on his opponent, so I don't know. That was honestly a kind of an even engagement right there, although being forced to retreat that early is kind of gonna weaken him slightly. Here comes the Kubelwagen though. The Volksgrenadiers then Kubelwagen build, and he's going very hard for the munitions point right here. Whatever he's planning on doing this game clearly is going to rely on munitions, because he is fighting tooth and nail for this one point and no other locations on this map. Riflemen are going to jump into the building here to try and defend this location. And the Kubelwagen will pull back slightly. SWS looks like it's going to pull back a little bit as well. Can't tell if he's going tier 3 or tier 2. Volksgrenadiers grab the cutoff and start making their way towards the south. And the Kubelwagen continues to contend against rifle squads here in the north, forcing 2 retreats apparently. The 2-man rifle squad did a little bit of capping right there. He probably could have continued circling around, grabbing other points with that wounded squad, but Alastor wanted to get that back into the base and get that healed up, and the Kubelwagen forced another retreat there as well. So with 2 squads of riflemen already forced back into the base at 3 minutes, Alastor's map control is going to be suffering a little bit here early on. Suffering quite a lot, actually. You can tell that even though Angreifen went with such an aggressive push for the munitions point early on and was forced to retreat with Sturm Pios, he still has more territory than his US forces opponent, which is going to put Alastor in a pretty awkward situation here early on. Rifle company has been chosen. 1 squad into the building is not really being very mobile or capturing territory. The other squad on the field making its way towards the south. Having gone rifle company, he does have 2 squads which are very capable of destroying the Kubel if they can get into close range. Sturm Pioneers will take control of the fuel here in the north, and Angreifen has access to Luftwaffe, breakthrough, and scavenge this game. And I'm expecting him to go scavenge, I think, but I'm not sure, really. I haven't been keeping up with his strategy lately, and I don't know what he's going to do. Last time I encountered him, he went scavenge, but we'll see what he chooses. Sturm Pios will force rear echelon troops from that house, but they're now in a little bit of danger. They get caught by a bunch of riflemen right here, but they double up into the building, which is going to limit their damage output a little bit on that Sturm Pios squad, which made a late retreat right there. If Alastor had noticed that wounded squad a little earlier and maybe tried to block and chase, he could have definitely got some manpower bleed done, and maybe even wiped the squad. I think neither of them was quite monitoring that engagement that closely. That's tier 2 right there from Angreifen. Pretty standard placement to go throw that behind this building with only 1 window facing. Ooh, rifle grenade connects. Kubelwagen needs to get around a corner to safety. 2 squads of Volksgrenadiers are on their way to protect. Kubelwagen is going to try and suppress the squad, and it will do so, but is immediately destroyed thereafter. He might have been able to save that, but usually if it takes that rifle grenade, it's pretty much dead, no matter what you do. There wasn't much he could do after he let that happen. Raketenwerfer on the field now, and he will get up to 2 CPs, giving him access to Fusiliers if he goes breakthrough. or Jaeger light infantry. Also, it's a good idea to go scavenge before you salvage stuff, if you're gonna go scavenge, because it will give you a little bit of extra munitions, which can be nice. Yes, this is Angreifen, Fidelio. Folks Grenadiers into the church. These three squads making their way towards the north fjords. One squad of riflemen available to fight them off, while quite a bit of U.S. infantry is either defending in various buildings or capturing territory in the south. So Angreifen should be able to get control of this fuel point.
Bust out the metal, boys! Promotion just came through!
Not sure why he stood on the east side of the building right there with his stern pyros. It makes it pretty easy to focus them down with 4 east-facing windows. There's only, I think, 3 southeast-facing windows. Stern Pioneers might have had more luck if they bunched around the left side window right here, where the 2 windows on the right side might not have an angle on them. By the way, because infantry only have a 90-degree angle of fire, if you get close enough to a building, sometimes even though there will be windows on that building's face, the infantry inside still won't be able to fire back on you. So that's something you can try and take into account on buildings that are really wide like this. And that is Scavenge Doctrine chosen. So he could have gotten a little bit of extra munitions out of that dead Kubelwagen right there if he had chosen it before salvaging. Not that it makes a huge difference, but something to keep in mind.
Ambulance taking the field.
And he will field some Jaegers. Jaeger light infantry out of the shed right there. Start getting control of some of the territory here in the south. There's a very lightly wounded rifle squad available, which could probably beat a squad of Jaeger light infantry in a one-on-one engagement. Folks Grenadiers in the north are also going to get forced away by riflemen. So that's going to be pretty standard. 4 rifles into captain. Pack howitzer from here. Pack howitzer might prove useful against tier 2. Tier 2 plus heavy usage of buildings. He might be able to get some good hits off, start vetting that up slowly over the course of the game. But with Jaeger light infantry on the field, there's a pretty decent chance of it getting ambushed and killed with infiltration grenades and potentially also salvaged, so he will have to be careful to keep it alive. There's tier 4 going up from Angreifen, and it looks like he will be able to construct that without his opponent noticing. And it's in kind of a dangerous location. Against Captain tier especially, the threat of AT guns may prove very difficult to keep away. He's going to have to make sure he never loses control of the church right here. And he's going to have to make sure AT guns never set up in the road over here. He's going to have to make sure AT guns never set up in the road over here. Could prove a very dangerous placement. We'll see if he's able to make it work. Pack howitzer in particular will have no problem bombarding that from a distance. But it's going to take more than 1 pack howitzer to bring that structure down. There's rifle company chosen by, or not chosen, but 3 CPs I should say. 3 CPs for Alastor, and he will start fielding flamethrowers. Has 1 out already, another 1 in production. But he's a little low on munitions. A little low on munitions because Angreifen has held the center munitions point for pretty much the entire game. He's had slightly weak map control. Pack howitzer begins firing on the church, and Folks Grenadiers will reposition out. And these 2 squads are going to make their way towards the south, getting dangerously close to Stern Pioneers right here. Captain has to retreat pretty early. This red cover is going to be dangerous for that rifle squad to just stand there, hoping for lucky flame crits, and he will convince Angreifen to retreat, but he takes quite a few losses right there, partially because of that Shrek snipe. Flamethrower squad is already forced off the field. Angreifen will be able to maintain control of the south fuel point and VP. Meanwhile, another engagement by the battle group headquarters will also go sour. Rifle flamethrower is outmatched. Oh no, the tier 4 structure is taking shots on the retreating squad. Gets around the corner just in the nick of time, and I think the blizzard may actually have also helped with that squad's escape. Getting away narrowly. I don't think anybody has suffered a wipe this game other than the loss of a Kubelwagen, as far as I'm aware. So it really just comes down to manpower bleed and model losses, in which Angreifen is definitely in the lead. 11 kills ahead. Pack howitzer might help turn that situation around a little bit. And a triple cap is almost getting set up against Angreifen as well. Alastor holding the north of this map is bringing Angreifen down to about 100 victory point deficit. And he's going to have to try and find a way to turn that around. Making a light harassment attempt for the north right now. Backcapping with the Raketenwerfer while he doesn't really need it that badly. He's also going to go Panzer II. Tier 4 into a Panzer II rush. He must feel pretty confident in his map control to field this unit rather than just waiting for an Ostwind. And on this map, I think he might just go Tier 4 just for the defensive power of this structure, helping him hold this road and church area and acting as a forward staging point from which to advance and try and maintain control of the center munitions, which it looks like he will deny to his opponent once again right here. Infiltration grenades into the structure, bring it down to a little less than a quarter, and it will become very dangerous to garrison that structure for too long. Captain taking shots at the Panzer II right there, gets one bazooka off. Rifle flamethrower detonates on that squad. That's one flamethrower down, one to go. Infiltration grenades will also destroy the building right there. Captain took too long to get out and will be wiped inside. But another squad is wiped in return up here. Jaeger Light Infantry flamethrower to death in the midst of that engagement, so they trade squads. Jaeger Light Infantry for a captain is a pretty even trade. Although the captain, when you initially purchase him, only costs 200 manpower. To replace him would be 300. Sturm Pioneers find an opportunity on an AT gun right here, and we'll get that wiped. And Riflemen are trying to get up to the front line to force those Sturm Pioneers away. They are stuck a little bit in the deep snow right here, but they should be able to force that Sturm Pio squad away. Panzer II and Volksgrenadiers working on a rifle squad in the south will get that to retreat with only one man remaining.
Return to normal operations.
And the south fuel is currently still in Alastor's hands. Panzer Grenadier Angreifen needs to find an opportunity to get that point captured, but he's just very occupied in engagements at a lot of different places on the battlefield. Raketenwerfer is probably one of his best backcapping squads, but it looks like he's going to send these Volksgrenadiers to get that under control for right now. He does not have a forward retreat point unlocked, so
Incoming fire! Field promotion!
The time to set us alight. Send orders.
Panzer II chasing that squad away. Thus far the pack howitzer has really basically done nothing. And that does partially have something to do with the pack howitzer's positioning. But the fact that the pack howitzer relies so much on its positioning is part of what makes it not a great unit. Oster mortar positioning, for example, is not nearly as... You don't really need a direct line. The scatter on the pack howitzer is making it struggle to even hit this tier 4 structure from where it is. If you were to move it up to roughly where the AT gun is, for example, you'd have slightly more success. But not as much success as just a normal AT gun. The white phosphorus, of course, is good, though. Over the course of a long game, it's still indirect fire. It's still nice to have some kind of non-fuel-based indirect fire. It still fulfill that role, just not as well as other factions.
Try to outflank us! They're wide
Lost
to
a gun crew.
Engine damage on the Panzer II from the riflemen right there. AT gun is taking AT gun fire, or Panzerschreck fire, I think. Trying to destroy the gun entirely. Not quite successful. Rear echelon troops managed to recover it, but are immediately wiped out by the Panzer II, which is actually taking pack howitzer fire. The pack howitzer, to be fair, does sometimes get random shots off against vehicles. It's a lot better against vehicles than the Oster mortar. Which is not really what you want from your indirect fire unit, but sometimes it makes a bit of a difference. I'm pretty sure I've cast at least one game where a pack howitzer sniped a looks or something.
Reinforcements in. Welcome to the death factory.
Sturm Pioneers getting this unit repaired.
Might just make it.
Booby trap. Not sure if he noticed that.
block the
Apparently not. Ooh, and it detonates his flamethrower. But the squad is still alive. I think booby traps are becoming popular. Not that they weren't already used before the last patch, but they seem, I don't know. I feel like they're popping up more frequently than they used to. They seem like a pretty solid investment. Seem like a pretty good reason to go Jaeger Light Infantry. They do cost 50 munitions, though. That's a shoe mine. A shoe mine will give you almost the same benefit for a slightly cheaper price, and you can put it anywhere. But I think it's harder to defuse booby traps than it is to defuse shoe mines. So that's something you should also keep in mind, I
The enemy
think.
has cut our supply chain. The resource sector has been isolated.
Point secure. Maintain your position.
Our fronts are taking fire! Taking fire! Obtain field promotion! Relay orders!
Panzer II is pulling back to safety along this road. It's taken engine damage again. It's up to Vet 2 with 17 kills, and it's performed quite well this game. Alastor is up to 160 fuel, so as soon as he's got the manpower together, he will, I assume, be fielding an Easy 8. He's in a pretty bad situation. For a 4-rifle opening, he has lost one full squad. He's got only half the kills of his opponent, which, as Rifle Company, is also a bad sign. Oh, he's lost a rear echelon troop squad as well. And his team weapons just are constantly getting cleared. / destroyed.
Tank support
Right
is here.
there.
Sherman ready.
So if this Easy 8 doesn't have a very dramatic impact, Alastor may not be able to recover this game. He will have a pretty significant window of opportunity with this unit because of his opponent's decision to go Panzer II. He will not have access to a Panther for some time. But once the Panther comes out, he's going to have to manage the threat it poses very carefully, which he can do. He's gone Captain's here. He has access to AT guns and the Easy 8, so it's possible. And wiping that Sternpile squad would be a good start, making a very nice entrance here. Almost. Stern Pioneer squad gets away very narrowly. Rakettenwerfers are set up to counter. That Easy 8 will be forced to pull back to safety. 3 Rakettenwerfers on the field, in fact. So Angreifen is not going to let himself get caught off guard this game. He has plenty of anti-tank. He's very well prepared for that Easy 8. That should be a threat that he can manage quite nicely. Packhauser gets another big hit off on the Panzer II right there. It's falling low. Again, AT gun is trying to get a shot off, but it just can't get a line. Fires through the hedges, but nothing connects.
Wiped out.
Lots of damage being inflicted. Massive amounts of manpower bleed. The Rakettenwerfer blob is moving up to try and take shots at that Easy 8. Grenade will clear the AT gun again. Oh, that pack howitzer hit on the Rakettenwerfer blob, though. Insta-pinned 2 of them, and 1 got suppressed, including massive damage. The Easy 8 finds the opening it needs on that Panzer II. And it is destroyed. 2 Rakettenwerfers also. All 3 Rakettenwerfers cleared. That miracle pack howitzer shot. Wow. And I guess that's what Angreifen gets for not splitting up a little bit with those Rakettenwerfers. He was just hoping for better RNG right there. That nailed him. That nailed him really badly. Even with that happening, though, he's not in a terrible position. He's gone Ostwind, interestingly enough, though. I was kind of expecting Panther this game, but apparently not. AT gun destroys 1 Rakettenwerfer right there. Volksgrenadiers will recover. Wow, he actually sacrificed a Panzerschreck squad to recover those. I assume intentionally. I'm pretty surprised by that, but alright. He's going in hard on the Easy 8 again, trying to bait the Easy 8 in with the Ostwind. Rakettenwerfer volley connects perfectly, and the Easy 8 falls dangerously low. Ostwind will continue chasing to provide vision, while Volksgrenadiers and Rakettenwerfers support from behind. It looks like the Easy 8 will be forced off the field for repairs, and meanwhile, during this, Angreifen is taking a decent amount of map control there in the north. Jaeger light infantry, very good for map harassment on this map. The buildings are located around all of the very high priority points. The shed is good for the south, and then this building is quite good for the north. This building as well, if necessary. So there's buildings just sprinkled all over the place that Jaegers can pop out of where they need to be. And the Ostwind, of course, will make a very good mobile counter-harassment unit. I think Alastor heard this Ostwind coming through the fog of war, so he's going to retreat that rear echelon squad out of there. Ostwind will be able to maintain control of the south fuel point for now. And Angreifen might even be going King Tiger, I guess, or Stuka or something. I don't know. I'm curious to see what he's going to get out of this tier 3 structure that he just threw up here in the back. It'll also, of course, give him access to repairs, slightly faster repairs. And a Vet 3 Sternpio squad, in conjunction with the Mechanized Regiment HQ, can repair that Ostwind extremely quickly. And it'll also be a lot more durable than the Panzer II was. Won't struggle quite as much to keep this tank alive. Ooh, another booby trap. And you can see that booby traps do give return on your investment that is comparable to that of a shoe mine. Slightly bigger explosion, slightly more expensive. Shoe mine is probably more efficient though, from what I can tell. I mean, that booby trap for 50 munitions is going to kill 2 riflemen. But if it blows up a flamethrower, it was extremely worth it, so I don't know.
Capture point.
Yeah, Love Nest. Everybody knows that blizzards are your favorite feature in this game, right? I heard that you worked very closely with Relic in the development of CO2 to make sure that they added blizzards. At first, Quinn Duffy said, "I don't know, I feel like they slowed the game down a little bit," but you convinced them. You showed Relic the way.
Gather round. I smell orders.
That's true, Sir Lamy. You can keep your own unit inside of the inside of the booby trap capture zone, and then wait for the unit to come in fully. Ooh. So that when it does detonate, there's a better chance of a wipe. That's a good point. I don't see people doing that all that frequently, because it's hard. It's hard to actually get it just right. And also, if there's a Jaeger light infantry squad just standing in standing in the capture circle, you can almost telegraph the booby trap when maybe you don't want to. So it's cost benefit.
Task complete. Crew ready.
Double Ostwind on the field. This is almost the exact build I saw Angreifen use against me. He beat me with this build. It's kind of fun to see it. Double Ostwind backed by Raketenwerfers and Panzerschrecks for anti-tank. He uses the Ostwinds in the front to provide vision and clear out infantry. Raketenwerfers, ooh! Raketenwerfers in the back with Panzerschrecks support to try and take out any tanks that dive the Ostwinds, to try and take them out that way. Easy 8's going to peek a little bit on the tier 4. Panzerschreck and Raketenwerfer Blob is going to reroute to deal with that threat while Ostwinds clear out some infantry here in the north. He's going to split his anti-tank support away from his tanks. That tier 4 is going down fast. AT gun plus Easy 8 working on it very quickly. Stern Pioneers arrive. They're not upgraded with the support package, so they won't repair quite as quickly. White Phosphorus being dropped on the Blob right there. That's going to have to retreat for sure. Oh, he just ate that. Ate that barrage. Easy 8 and AT gun working on the Ostwinds are bringing them down quite low. This one is down to about a third. Raketenwerfer is set up for this, maybe even overly aggressive push. And the Easy 8 is going to back off. Pack Howitzers bombarding the battle group again, but I don't think there's anything in the general area. Stern Pioneers have succeeded in getting this structure back up to about half. Captain moves up with bazookas to provide vision for that AT gun, and they'll continue putting pressure on the structure. It's brought quite low. Austrians are trying to save the day, pushing that captain off the field. The Austrian clears that AT gun. The tier 4 should be safe. Oh, one more shot. It needs to clear that gun. Pack howitzer also firing. AT gun actually switches targets to the Austrian though, which now has no choice but to pull back to safety away from that EZ-8. Oh, pack howitzer shot clipped it, but it gets away. I think in total this game, the pack howitzer has done pretty significant damage to vehicles. It's hit tanks like 3 or 4 times, I think, that I've seen on camera.
A capture point is under attack.
Then again, most people would rather have an exceptional indirect fire weapon rather than a jack-of-all-trades indirect fire weapon that just happens to be able to do light damage to tanks sometimes. Kind of like hollow charge rounds is an ability that doesn't really make any sense. Raketenwerfer's firing at the EZ-8 right there. It is falling dangerously low. There it goes. Finally, he was unable to protect against the EZ-8s. There were just too much pressure from the AT gun from range, and I think I even commented earlier that this placement was gonna run the risk of being destroyed by anti-tank weaponry down this road. And that's just one of the risks of putting it in a really aggressive location like that, where it will, of course, for a while help him defend this area, but now, as the US Army grew, it just proved too difficult to deal with the various threats. Had to spend quite a bit of time repairing these Austrians as well. He's going to send them both south to try and kill these rear echelon troops. There is a bit of an infantry force down here. No tank support, so the Austrians probably have a pretty good chance of winning an engagement against one captain, even with their low HP. But Alastor has turned the game around a little bit. He's in a slightly better position. He's now got 2 EZ-8s on the field. His opponent's investment of 200 fuel into Austrians means King Tiger, for example, is not going to be arriving anytime soon. He's got 2 AT guns. The pack howitzer's up to Vet 2 with 25 kills, and he's slowly growing his map control, and he will get a triple cap going against Angreifen again. Victory points pulling pretty even at about 340 to 330 as Alastor makes his next push. Picks up a Jaeger Light Infantry squad right there. Wiped in one volley.
Enemy tank is cutting us off.
Ooh, deep snow.
We just lost a unit.
Riflemen get wiped on the retreat right there. EZ-8 continues poking in the middle. Raketenwerfers are setting up over here. He's trailing his Austrians intentionally with those Raketenwerfers because he's anticipating a maneuver like this. Ooh, I don't think that Austrian's getting away though. Will go down to EZ-8 fire plus AT gun back into EZ-8. Anti-tank support not quite in range to support here for Angreifen. He's actually going to split the Raketenwerfers, one moving up here through this avenue, one moving up here through the north. Ostwind is blitzing to safety right there, and the EZ-8 will disengage completely after falling quite low. The flanking Raketenwerfer, oh, he didn't keep going. He might have been able to get a line on that EZ-8 right there if he had. White phosphorus barrage from the pack howitzer here will probably shut down that push by those infantry. They just took a lot of damage from that. Ooh, those riflemen did too though, so now I guess I'm not so sure. Retreating through their own right, white phosphorus, they fall very low. Folks Grenadiers are not going to stick around any longer here either. This Austrian is going to have to pull back for repairs. After falling extremely low, the other one has also been destroyed. Angreifen currently has 135 fuel, and he's going to have to think carefully about how to spend it. EZ-8s have not been destroyed yet. There's still 2 on the field, and there's still a very serious threat. If Angreifen doesn't start to dedicate a little bit more to anti-tank, maybe slightly more mobile anti-tank, like a Jagdpanzer, I'm not sure if he's going to be able to push those things back. He's getting bled pretty hard by them. He doesn't have that much infantry left. But apparently not. He's not going to go Jagdpanzer. He's going to keep on making Ostwins. He's fully committed to this double Ostwin build.
Grab your shit and follow me.
When I fought him doing this, I hadn't gone Rifle Company. I was using regular Shermans. So Easy 8 seemed to be performing a little bit better against this build than I was able to manage. It certainly wasn't because of any micro mistakes. I played perfectly. I played flawlessly, as I always do. But, pro tip, if you are up against Angreifen, pretty good chance he's going to use this double Austrian build against you, so you might want to consider Rifle... I mean, you're probably going to go Rifle Company anyway, because who doesn't go Rifle Company, right? But Easy 8s may help you quite a bit. Austrians looking for an opportunity on rear echelon troops here in the south. Might be able to get those
Looks like we're getting into the excitement.
wiped. They retreat a little bit late, but the Austrians also disengaged. The Stern Pioneers are up to Vet 4. I think Vet 3 is their repair bonus. Yeah. I think that's their only repair bonus. He still hasn't gotten them a Minesweeper or support package for the faster repair speed, so you might want to consider that. Ooh. Another big pack howitzer hit suppresses 2 of the 3 squads right there. I think he might be looking for the Easy 8s here in the back, trying to find the crews repairing. He does locate them and force them back into their tanks, but he will be immediately forced to retreat thereafter. Rakettenwerfers are taking control of territory in the south and trying to slow the victory point drain. Austrians are both fully repaired. He's got 225 victory points left.
Enemy tank is cutting us off!
That one fell low very quickly and is destroyed by AT gun and Easy 8 fire. That one was Vet 2. That is a very painful loss. He's now lost 200 fuel in Ostwins. His third one hasn't really done that much. He'll sort of keep some riflemen at bay, but I feel like he's in danger of getting outproduced by Easy 8s. Alastor just fielded a third one, I think, right there. So,
Sherman ready to go.
3 Easy 8s up against this army should soon be able to just make a decisive push and steamroll everything. In all likelihood, Angreifen continues to fall behind.
Sherman ready for action.
Alastor, to Alastor's credit, he's done a very good job with armor preservation. He never seems to leave his tanks out of position for too long in the line of fire of a Rakettenwerfer. Meanwhile, Angreifen has left himself in the line of fire for too long against a decent amount of anti-tank. And the American anti-tank gun is also quite good against Ostwins. It has a very high chance of penetrating. I don't even know if it can bounce. Maybe a max range. And it has extremely high range and rate of fire, so Ostwins don't get a lot of time to engage before they're just forced back or destroyed.
Operation advises a severe cold front is moving in. Prepare for possible blizzard conditions. The enemy is overrunning one of our capture points. The capture point is under attack.
Bust out the metal, boys! Promotion just came through!
Riflemen forced away in that engagement by Ostwind fire, which is attacking ground, apparently. Through the blizzard, I guess. They don't really have very good vision of each other. This AT gun is trying to move up to see if it can do anything, but that's going to be forced back by the infantry. Easy 8s are all receiving repairs or at different locations on the map. This Vet 3 Easy 8 is working on the south and should have no problem pushing away Stern Pioneers. Here in the north, the Rakettenwerfer blob is looking for an opening against this tank. They're all attacking ground through the blizzard and just hoping for the best. Nothing's even coming close to connecting, though, hitting the ground or the building. He's going to have to find a better line. But at the very least, Angreifen has taken a victory point up here, and he's taken the fuel point, so the clock is still slow against him. He's got a little bit of resource income while he continues to think about how to proceed. I really think if he keeps making Ostwins, he's going to lose, though. If He builds this one. I don't expect it to have any more success than his last two.
Grab your shit and follow me. All done over here. We lost an infantry unit. They got wiped out. Looks like we're
This EZ8 has only got 19 kills, actually. For a Vet 3 EZ8, that's not that many. Probably because it's done so much damage to Ostwinds. And vetting up a lot by just hitting Angreifen's tanks.
button her up. Big push coming. Contact! Support gun!
Kenworth has just walked right into this tank. One gets cleared immediately, the other two, one has to retreat, the other one's trying to soft retreat into a Panzerschreck blob right here.
On target!
Full squad of Panzerschreck Volksgrenadiers wiped by that crush maneuver. This squad will recover the weapon and do pretty good damage. I think that EZ8 may finally go down. Vet 3 EZ8 in serious danger. Volksgrenadiers trying to get a critical shot off. Fire! There it goes. EZ8 destroyed by Panzerschreck fire, and another one moving up to try and recover the situation. Will force at least one retreat right there. This squad will stick around. Ostwind is just sitting idle right there, and an AT gun is moving up to punish it for doing so with its engine damage. This could be a decisive engagement. There are two Raketenwerfers left on the battlefield, and they absolutely must move to engage here. This EZ8 falls low. This one's Vet 2. If the Double Shrek squad manages to take that out, the game may actually make a dramatic turn in Angreifen's favor here. Ostwind is fully repaired, and its engine is restored. These AT guns are working on trucks in the back, but the loss of a mechanized regiment HQ is not that big of a deal, and I think all three EZ8s might go down right here. Abandoned, destroyed engine. One AT gun cleared. The AT gun doesn't quite have a line on the Ostwind right there, I don't think, and it switches targets to the abandoned EZ8 to make sure Angreifen doesn't recover it. Ostwind there will pull back to safety. Both AT guns have been cleared. All three EZ8s have been destroyed, and Alastor will be forced to make a full retreat right here, and that engagement went pretty much as horribly as it possibly could have, and now Angreifen will feel perfectly vindicated and going for more Ostwinds. He feels quite comfortable doing that. He's no longer in any serious danger of being outproduced by EZ8s. He has two Ostwinds on the field to his opponents and no tanks at all. Another EZ8 will be arriving soon, but Angreifen still has the tools he needs to deal with them, and the Ostwinds are no longer countered by a double AT gun wall. Angreifen is going to get those cleaned up right now.
Tank support is here. Sherman ready.
But Angreifen does still need to chew through quite a few squads of riflemen, and he still needs to get a lot of map control back. Ostwind moves up to engage here in the middle. Takes another hit from the pack howitzer. And engine damage from that rifle grenade, so that's going to pull back for some repairs. This one's almost fully repaired. Good enough. He's going to send that back to the battlefield. Probably towards the south? No. Sending that north with his Raketenwerfer blob to try and start getting territory back. His infantry forces are looking very thin. His Sturm Pioneers have all been wiped. Not only his Vet 4 squad, but a fresh squad that he fielded during that, so a lot of manpower worth of Sturm Pioneers dead. Oh no! Another fresh EZ8 just walked right into double Raketenwerfer, including one that is now Vet 5. And a fourth EZ8 has been destroyed in exchange for nothing. Pack Howitzer is Vet 3 with 29 kills at the point that an Ostwind finally finds an opportunity against it and clears it.
Crouch just took out an entire gun crew. The capture point is being overrun.
Under fire!
A capture point is under attack.
There's a lot of resources sitting around that Angreifen could salvage at this point. He could salvage this, this, that. But he doesn't have any units. Doesn't have any units that can do that right now. He's only got two Volksgrenadier squads. Those are the only salvage capable squads he has on the field, and they're busy capturing territory or reinforcing. Ostwinds find an opportunity against a rifle squad right here, which will be forced to retreat. And Alastor has fallen back to purchasing bazookas, I think, maybe. Am I wrong about that? Yes, I am. That's a dropped bazooka that his captain must have dropped.
We're losing a that capture point.
So he does have one bazooka. He's fielding 2 fresh AT guns. And all of his manpower is going into something. Or fuel, I mean. He had a lot of fuel a minute ago. Oh, right, he built that 4th EZ8, so now he has no fuel. And another squad, his rifle squad right there, just got wiped by Ostwinds. This one up to 22 kills. This one up to 6.
300 points remaining.
And Angreifen's core of double Ostwind and supporting anti-tanks seems to be getting the job done, somehow, against all odds. And the map is turning back red thanks to these Raketenwerfers capturing territory.
We're taking lead over here!
Rear echelon troops have to retreat right there. There's one of the 2 AT guns, both of them actually, set up in that road. Ostwinds will need to be careful in that area. Riflemen are trying to force retreats and get territory back under control here in the north. Angreifen only has 100 points remaining, so if he could just hold on to the 2 VPs up here on the north half of the map, there's a chance he might be able to whittle Angreifen down. He's going to have to do a good job of managing those Ostwinds with these AT guns, though.
Enemy tank is cutting us up!
So far, those Ostwinds are proving difficult to deal with, though. AT guns finally arrive. If they get caught out of position and circled to death, may not be much you can do. This one, unfortunately, will have to pull back and is destroyed by AT gun fire. This one doesn't have a whole lot of time before they switch targets. 2 shots, 1 missed. 1 missed, and the Ostwind gets back. Just barely.
Fire! Zero! Hit that lead!
Got a rifle squad waiting for orders.
White phosphorus on the Raketenwerfer blob, but it mostly pulls clear just in time, and Sturm Pioneers successfully chase off all remaining threats in the area, some low health rifle squads and AT guns. And it looks like Angreifen will keep the clock ticking against his opponent at all points during that engagement.
To us!
Volksgrenadiers taking back control of the center of munitions point will also chase these rear echelons back into the base. Everything in the south will remain firmly in Angreifen's control, who has purchased his 5th Ostwind to make sure that at every point of this game he definitely has 2 Ostwinds on the field, which is proving expensive to maintain, but he is managing it. And that's all he has spent fuel on for the last 20 minutes is just Ostwinds.
All done over here.
And he does have fuel transfer active to help him in that endeavor.
110 smoke strike can be delivered to cover our men.
Since he's not really fielding Panzerschrecks, he's just throwing maybe a grenade here and there, but mostly letting his munitions float. He's actually got 240 in the bank, considering he's had fuel transfer on for pretty much the entire game. That's a decent munitions bank, giving him access to maybe 1 artillery strike, if he needs it. But he has a very strong handle on the game right now. He probably won't need to
Capture point.
make any dramatic game-turning artillery strikes. There he goes. Dropped on these AT guns over here while his Ostwinds clean up some infantry in this area. 1 squad of riflemen wiped. Raketenwerfer snipes that AT gun crew. Sturm Pioneers working on the other one. Riflemen trying to push them away. Ostwind moving up into that AT gun's arc of fire, trying to brute force it down from the front, which it might do. Yes, barely. Both AT guns cleared and destroyed by Raketenwerfer fire. This pack howitzer still sitting here as well, and Alastor knows that there is now no way he can recover this game. He's lost too much. And Angreifen wins. I think at one point where Alastor had destroyed 2 Ostwinds without losing a single tank, he had pretty much won this game, but he managed to let it slip out of his control. Not quite able to deal with the threat of Panzerschrecks and Raketenwerfers in a very critical engagement where Angreifen turned things back around. And he was able to emerge successful, utilizing a 2 Ostwind, 3 Raketenwerfer core, and just continually replacing his losses. So kind of an interesting strategy. I enjoyed watching it. Good usage of Scavenge Doctrine. The one thing I wish he had done is actually salvage actually salvage all of these wrecks. There's so much wrecked stuff on this battlefield. Maybe it looks like he did end up salvaging some of these things. These AT guns, for example, are gone now. There's still lots of wrecks just everywhere, though. Probably make the strategy even more efficient if he could find opportunities to do that. But other than that, I think it worked pretty well. He obviously had a few moments where he needed to spread his Rakettenwerfers out a little bit more, as also to avoid, or at least mitigate the threat of the Pack Howitzer or White Phosphorus or whatever it is. So, GG. Axis wins.